And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Put your thumbs up and say it's Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo, Tickety Boo, everything's Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo, son. Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo.
You ever tell yourself you're fine, but really you're just flat out busy fixing, working, helping, scrolling, watching, doing anything but sitting still long enough to hear what's actually going on inside. In this episode of Tickety Boo, we're getting honest about the difference between being healed and just being distracted. Because if your growth comes with zero quiet, zero reflection, and a schedule that would break a Navy SEAL, chances are it's avoidance in a fancy outfit. Isn't it mad how we confuse healing with, I've got a full calendar and no time to think, but the second that we stop, or we're forced to stop, all this unresolved stuff comes to the surface. How many times in your life have you ended up doing that?
I've got the t-shirt. busy, burnout. Busy, burnout.
What is this thing? Why are we so obsessed as humans with being busy? What is that about?
I think that's
Do we associate it with being productive?
Yes, that's exactly what I was about to say.
Right.
Being productive, being successful. If I'm not busy, then I'm lazy. If I'm not doing something, and also it's a way of avoiding feeling and dealing with the trauma. So it can either be, I'm not being productive and successful, or it's a way of completely avoiding the healing, because we've got to feel it to heal it. It's something I've said before. But I know one of my avoidance techniques is actually getting busy.
So, like running away from your shadow.
Yep.
Do you think we know we're running, or we're just doing what we've always done?
No, I think we just do anything that just distracts us from the anxiety that we're feeling, I think.
Well, and it's that old. I mean, we've talked about it before, when like a couple of months or a year ago, when we were talking after I'd had a lot of loss, and you asked me how I am, and I said fine. I also knew, when you called me on it, I knew as soon as I said I'm fine, I know I'm not, because logically I know that isn't fine, everything I'd just been through. So I know it's like, yeah, I'm fine, I'll just carry on, I'll just keep going.
If you're honest with yourself, when you say I'm busy, would you say that you're actually getting much done? Are you like...
No.
Yeah.
Busy doesn't equate to...
Yeah, kind of like, does the
productivity.
output equal the input?
Well, and it's like it's so important to take breaks. Like, we know the things, and we can accomplish more when we're well rested. And I know I work better in the morning. If I'm trying to get something done, I can spend 3 hours trying to do it later in the day, let's say if I'm really tired. And actually, if I just pause, and I've proven it to myself again and again, and then do it the next day, it'll take me half an hour.
So do you think that we need to learn how to become unbusy?
Yes.
Yes.
Less is more.
But how many times have we either heard or used the phrase when somebody says, "Are you okay?" Yes, I'm just keeping myself busy.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
I don't know, but I'm sure we've all said it. We've all heard
Does
it.
that really mean like, no, I feel like utter crap, but I don't really want to go there?
No, what they're actually saying is, no, I'm not okay, but I'm going to distract myself with other things so I don't have to face whatever it is that's bothering me.
Yeah. It's kind of, get busy so I can have short-term relief from my stuff.
Yes.
But long-term, it's like, you know, when you're driving a car and a warning light comes up and you just get a bit of tape and stick it over it, or you turn the radio up so you can't hear the rattle in the car. That's what we're really doing, isn't it?
Yep, without a doubt.
Yeah. So what we're really saying is that busy can be avoidance. It's a coping strategy.
And then if I think about just what I've gone through recently, there were a bunch of things I had to do with the clearing out of my dad's house.
Yeah.
So yes, I was busy. However, we also know that that's at the end of a 2-year run of like epic trauma stuff I've gone through, and loss and all that. So there had to come a point where it was a breaking point, because I couldn't carry on like that. And I didn't. I fell to my knees, as I shared a couple of episodes ago. But I also had to get to that point and also know, and I knew it was coming, and I'd been doing the work, and I was coping, and I knew to take time out for myself. So all the things we invite our listeners to do, I was doing them, but I was still suppressing.
But that's a phrase. I was coping.
Yeah.
Which means that you weren't.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we're being honest,
Yeah.
you know, when we say I'm coping, you might as well just go, I'm absolutely battered.
Yeah.
And
It's like, you know, when you see like the swan is above water, you know, floating along, looks really calm, and oh yeah, you look like you're doing all right, but underneath, you know, you're like frantically trying to stay afloat, paddling away.
I think like one of you said something about, you know, doing things and all of this, and I think in these moments of like tidying up after somebody's passed away or whatever it is, there's things that we need to do, and then there's things we feel like we should be doing.
Yes.
And there's a difference between the two of those, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know, one is very much driven by, well, it's practical, it's logical, I need to be doing this because it has an outcome and I need to get to that point. But then feelings come in and start pulling you into different behaviours, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guilt, fear, whatever it is. I need a distraction. But I do think the brain, I was just saying this before we hit record, that my brain has this wonderful thing that it loves to do, going, right, time out. Oh, I know. We could start doing this now. Why don't we write that 15-page article at 2:00 in the morning? You know, the brain can boot up when you really don't need it. But I really want to get into what is it about stillness that just freaks us out so much?
It scares us because we think that feeling it, if we just suppress it and we don't like, then it means I'm coping, as we've said. But by suppressing it, we think we can ignore it, we think it'll go away, but it's just adding to that pressure cooker. Whereas if we can allow it through and witness and acknowledge our feelings and what we're going through, like for me, it's that like, it's okay. Like this too will pass. Like I know this is difficult right now. It's in the suppression, which is the avoidance, that's unhealthy.
And it's like they say that phrase, busy hands, quiet mind. So what happens is people want to keep themselves distracted because when their mind's quiet, all that uncomfortable stuff that's still to process creeps in.
And I get that, you know, I'll say that to my anxiety clients, you know, busy hands, quiet mind. But that's not like become like this lunatic that's racing around forever doing. In fact, actually what we need to do is train ourselves to quieten our minds. But we can still be doing. It just means but we don't need to be running at 100%.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, that's the difference between procrastination and routine and sort of sitting there just scrolling Facebook trying to sort of...
So you know, like if you two, you have to a certain extent, if you have been totally honest, when you stop, you know, when you stop filling the calendar and you stop running around and you stop all the activity and you just become still, if you have been truly, truly honest, the fear that starts to come up after a period of time, what is it that you are genuinely afraid of? If you have been brutally honest.
Some of it, I think some of it's maybe because I've got businesses going on back here, it's what's going on.
Well, when you think about that fear, what's the first thought that comes into your head?
I think for me, if I'm specific to the last couple of years, it was the fear of feeling all the grief, and I hadn't. So it was I was processing it and I knew it was going on, but I think for me it was the fear of going down the rabbit hole of depression. It was the fear of I'm not going to be able to cope. I can't do this. Like literally when I fell to my knees in the kitchen, it was the first time I can remember that I suddenly didn't know what to do or how to do it because I was so overwhelmed by the state of one of the rooms in the house. And my friends picked me up and they were the ones who got me through it. But I had to surrender in that moment. And then, oh my gosh, like the next week was really hard, but hard work. And there was a lot of tears and lots of laughter. But I literally had to fall to my knees and surrender and just be in it and accept that, like, this is hard, this is difficult, and allow other people to come in to support me.
And I think going back to what I started to say, but kind of lost myself, because I've spent a lot of time under pressure, different times. I think when I'm not under pressure, my mind will go off and search out problems. It's strange. I don't just... And my mind will sort of go down the path of overthinking. So I need to be.
So what fear's driving the overthinking? What's the underlying fear?
I suppose things going wrong, lack of not being in control. What's going on?
That's just what I wrote down. That's exactly what
Control.
I realised when you were talking. When I said I had to surrender, it was that fear of not being in control of the situation and everything that's been going on. I have no control over everybody dying.
Because if you're not in control, what does that mean?
But then it'll chaos, and then in the chaos is I would get lost. I would not know who I was. But it was trying to be in control is the thing that I've been trying to, that pressure cooker. So exactly.
So it's almost like in that fear of that, it's almost like, and I wouldn't be able to cope.
Yeah. And I won't be able to do all the things I need to do and do the business, do the meetings, do the speaking on stage. Right? I've just let it all go now because I'm like, it actually doesn't matter.
I've had to sit and quite recently sit and reflect and become more self-aware about this. And for me, it's a fear of running out of money. It's a scarcity thing. If I stop
You've talked
and
about
things
that before,
start to drop off, fear of running out of money.
I understand that completely. One is because I've got a number of people that rely on me. Two is I've spent a lot of time, I do spend a lot of time stressing about finance on projects. Thirdly, I come from an upbringing where money was tight. So underlying, I have that scarcity mindset, which always worries me about being in that same situation.
Yeah, I'm with you on
I've
that.
got bills.
I'm with you on that. Logically, it's not bragging rights or anything. I know where I'm fortunate. I'm at a point in my life. If I stopped working today for a year, I would still be okay. I could still pay my bills and I could still eat for a year, which I think in today's world's quite rare. Logically, I know that. But as soon as I start dripping into that year, I start to freak out and I start getting a little bit uncomfortable and I want to get back ahead again. I don't want to feel like I'm coming back the way.
Yeah.
And so what I do is I kind of unconsciously have made this rule that my well-being and my sense of safety is based on a number. And that number must be, I don't even know where that number's come from. It's just a number. I think it comes from a point in life of having very little or nowhere near enough and I'm really struggling and not wanting to go back.
And interesting, this is all coming, if we look at, the fear of not having enough, the fear of the scarcity, for me, the control. This is all based on past experiences where we made up the stories and the unconscious decisions, whereas for me the control comes back to when my parents divorced in the 70s. They need to look after my brother and I need to make sure everybody else is okay, and so that was control. And if I can just control this situation and control and make everything okay, so it becomes really intense. And so that's, again, it's coming from my childhood.
That raises a really good point for me, actually, because when we were young, I would spend time looking after my brothers and sisters and doing whatever we needed to around the house. And so from an early age, I was responsible for other people. Yeah. So now I'm in this position where I've got other people that work for me. Most of the time they're fine. If there's no work, there's no work. But me and myself, I can't let that happen. And I could stop working for a period of time, but when I'm paying everybody else out of my own reserves, 6 months shrinks down to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
So it's like you've never really learned how to sort of feel your way through that. You've kind of learned how to function through those times.
Yeah.
To keep things going. To maintain the status quo, to kind of keep the happiness.
And when you've been in them situations, your mind's always almost on high alert in the background in case you wind up in that situation again.
Yeah. So what we're really sort of saying is we need to be aware of the story of why we're keeping ourselves busy rather than being in the moment of coping and surviving that day. What's the story that's making us keep doing the thing?
I agree. Yeah, I need to change my story because I'm definitely living in the past. Now, these people around me now, they're not kids. They're all grown adults that can survive on their own with a skill set. But yet I still feel as responsible for them as I did for my little brothers and sisters when I was in charge, when I was 13 years old.
It's like that part of you needs to be able to stand down.
Yeah.
I'm not responsible. I'm not responsible for that.
But it's such a big part of my own personal identity. I don't quite know how to switch that off.
Yeah.
Awareness. But that's fundamentally what it starts with, isn't it? Because really, what that is a coping strategy. This feels uncomfortable for me, so therefore I'm going to do this.
And internal validation as well. You know, it's where I've pigeonholed myself. It's the stories I tell myself.
Yeah, and I think there's, I think we all have this sort of sense of that. If you keep pushing through, you're strong.
Yeah, I think in our society we're told that. Keep pushing through, you've got it.
But strength really is the ability to stop when you know you need to stop.
Yeah.
That's real strength, isn't it? Because if you're honest, as you push through, you're knackered, you're disconnected from yourself, you're not happy. We just dress survival up as being productive.
Yeah. Actually, and I'm glad you said that, because I have a weekly group program that with a bunch of women in, entrepreneurs, and we were meant to have a session. I had this week's, but last week we were meant to have one, and I'm like, no, I'm burnt out. I'm done. And so what I did was I just said to them, I said, look, I have no other reason than I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm burnt out. And then when we had our session the following week, they actually thanked me for showing them that it's okay to actually stop and not do anything and just let it go. And I didn't say, I didn't come up with excuses and I'll make it up and I'm so sorry. It's like, I'm taking a mental health week. Like, I'm not coping. I need time. And it's so important that we show others and our children that this is how we can stop.
Practicing what you preach.
Yeah, definitely.
For the sake of the viewer, therapists are the world's biggest hypocrites.
Yeah.
Do as we say, not as we do. Joking aside, we have the same issues as everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we might have a bit more awareness, but it doesn't mean we don't have the same problems and the same challenges. Just because we know what to do doesn't mean we always do it.
Generally, we have the insight, though we're still affected by the same issues, and largely we're doing this because of those issues that we've worked our way through in the past. Our skill set means that we can bounce back from them maybe a bit quicker than other people do. That's what it is, but really it's our shared experience, not because we're perfect. If we were perfect, we'd be rubbish therapists.
Yeah.
The reality is it's real lived experience, so we can actually feel and understand.
And I think, that awareness will tell you, if your avoidance is hiding itself. What I mean by that is, are you using humour to brush off on what's really going on? Are you trying to be really productive, to avoid what's really going on underneath the surface?
Yeah.
That.
I do humour. I've done humour as well.
Yeah,
I see myself about to do it. I'm like, no, this isn't the time. So I catch myself. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm just trying to brush over that really quickly. It's uncomfortable. I don't want to go there.
It is, isn't it? It is uncomfortable, and humour is a great way of kind of going, I'll throw in a laughter grenade that will kind of stun everyone and take it away from what's kind of really going on.
I personally shut it down. I've got a lot less to stress about now, but the few things that I do, I'll shut it down and just tell everybody I'm fine, and then find different ways to process it. But that's really not what I teach. So that's.
So what would happen for you guys if you didn't fill those gaps with noise or movement?
I'm not right now.
You deal with it, and that kind of is what I was about to ask you then, which is, we're saying what's do we know if we're healing? Well, if we still get triggered, but then we can cope with the triggers, is that we're not healed? Is that we are healed but because we can cope with the triggers before they go into a downward spiral?
I was talking to a client, funnily enough, about this yesterday, because they said, how will I know when I'm healing? And I went, trust me, you'll know, because it's really messy. It's all over the place. Yes. One day you think you're on it, and the next day you're picking yourself up off the floor going, none of this is working. That's what healing looks like. It is not like sailing off.
It's not a hallelujah moment.
It is really messy and all over the place, riddled with self-doubt. Old programming trying to pull you back into those old patterns of behaviour.
And as Ian said, I think that the ability and the resilience, like it's growth through grit. It's through that learned experience. We've gotten through this kind of stuff before, because that is part of the healing process. So yes, getting knocked down, but the bounce back when you're healing, that's resilience. That means, okay, I bounce back quicker. I'm not talking about when people are avoiding it. I'm just going to bounce back and be okay. It's like really going into it and feeling it and still being okay, and because it's okay, and it's okay not to be okay, and that's part of the healing process too.
And I'll tell you two things that make me question at times whether I've managed to get over some of my demons or not. One is when I come from, I go away, I'll be distracted for a week with a lovely holiday, and then I come back, and literally, the minute the plane sits down, you walk into your house, all this old stuff starts to bubble back up again inside you, and you think, well, I was distracted for a week, but here it was, sat waiting for me. Sorry,
that's all right.
The other one was really good.
But you forgot what it was.
Yeah,
But how quickly does that holiday become a distant memory when you get back into the stuff?
Yeah. Oh, it was less than a week ago. It feels like.
And then how quickly do you need another holiday? We've talked about this before in other episodes, where we create lives we constantly, secretly desire a holiday from.
Yeah.
If you're building a life that you feel like you have to escape from all the time, something's off, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I do look forward to getting home, but then I get home and wish I was on holiday again. Sorry, the other one that I was going to say that makes me question is, now and again I think everything's great, and then sometimes other people will do this, I'm sure. Something will come up on Facebook, and you try not to get pulled back into old patterns of hurt, and then what happens is you think, oh, that's really relevant, I'll share that, and then what it does is it picks the scab, and then it probably the people that you'd maybe trying to get across to or whatever, they might not even notice, but what happens is it then reintroduces your
that sounds
cycle
a little
of
passive aggressive.
No, I'm just saying, like, what happens is you pick a scab, you think you're there, and then you pick a scab with something, and then it starts your bleeding all over again.
But I do think sometimes intentionally, and other times not so much intentionally, what we share is what's really going on with us.
Yeah, often.
We got the extreme end of the scale where you get the person posting that they're in A&E at 10 o'clock at night. Not here again, ...
Yeah.
And then there's other ones who throw stuff out. Some of it is to add value. But a lot of the times it's like, this is where I'm at. Does it resonate? Mm-hmm. Now, if it's a vulnerability piece, that's great. But you have to be honest with yourself going, what is it I'm doing here?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can be a bit of an exception to that. You are correct, but because we share stuff, we try to create content that's actually hard hitting, and people can relate to. So I often share stuff on my Facebook, and people think that I'm directing it at them because it hits a nerve, and it's never directed at anybody.
No,
it's just
I get what you're saying, but I nearly did it yesterday. Somebody yesterday screwed me over, good and proper. I'd moved mountains to help them, gone really out of my way, and they proper rolled me over on it and left me in a real situation. And part of me the ego went, go to Facebook and put a post up about people just not doing what they say they're going to do and not facing up to their responsibilities. And then the other part of me that's a bit wiser now and has more awareness is going, that's just you wanting a bit of a rant at the world and a bit of validation from the outside that everything's going to be all right and are you okay? Don't do it. Yeah. Now, to me, that shows healing because there's awareness there. I was angry at the world.
It's interesting, isn't it, what we share? Because I've not been very active on socials because of everything I've been going through. It's like I'm processing too much, and some of it has been really amazing, but I can't keep up with it. So I've purposely not shared, but I've had so many people private message me to check if I'm okay, what's going on, you're being quiet, and it's like, oh. So I did a really long post yesterday. I've had lovely feedback, as I've said, but I did it as a way of informing and letting people know, but also already sharing some of the insights I've gained over these last few weeks in particular, and this last 2 years. as a way of, so I'm not coming from victim, I'm not coming from ego. It was partly sharing, but it was, and so this is how I know I'm healing. And also I've been very aware that there have been triggers, and I've just said a little bit of that. So that has been part of my healing process, is just sharing. And then people have like, oh, said me too, or yeah, I know where you're coming from. So I've shared it. I know it's in a very neutral and very raw and alive way, but not from a point of looking for sympathy or from victim or why is this happening to me? There's none of that.
I think at times social media can be used as a bit of an unhealthy coping mechanism. And rather than, like what I did yesterday was, rather than doing the post, sit with the feeling that I had and let it be there, rather than, going for the Facebook post could be like going for the chocolate or the alcohol or whatever else it reaches to. And I really am in a place at the moment, my honest opinion is, not that much good happens on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I've said this before. If Facebook was a pub, I wouldn't go in it.
Yeah.
Or I'd go in and have a quick drink and leave. Don't get me wrong, it has the ability to do amazing things and connect people and all the rest of it. I just think the way that it's going, it takes people use it a way of not having to sit in their stuff.
Well, doom scrolling.
Yeah, rather than willing to fix it and feel it, you just like, I'll just go to social media and rant or start posting positive memes to pretend that my life is amazing.
Or go and troll. Some
Go
people
troll.
go and troll as a way of dealing with their stuff.
Yeah, and and I think there's so many people out there on social media who are telling you how your life should be and how you should be living it. And, I call them the 10-minute life coaches. They've read 2 chapters of a book and now they're telling people how to live their life. But I just think people need to learn to get more comfortable at being uncomfortable and sitting in their stuff and not get busy and
I think
drown it out with noise.
I agree, and there's a really lovely technique which I did with my group the other day, and it's called the RAIN meditation method. And have either of you heard of it? So I'll briefly say people can go and just look it up on their whatever search engine they use. But RAIN stands for R, recognizing what you're feeling. And so there's a process. With my ladies, I did a guided meditation.
Let's do it with me then. Yesterday I was angry.
Okay.
Raging.
There's more questions to it than that, but
Right,
the principles are, so you recognise what you're feeling, so it's not about trying to fix the feeling.
Right.
It's about recognising what you're feeling. A is allow it, so you're just allowing it, so you're witnessing it. And then I is you're investigating it without guilt, without trying to fix it, without trying to remedy it or make excuses, and you're doing so gently. And then N is nurture your response and know that it's okay to have this feeling and to sit with it, as you've been saying. But it's a really lovely process, and there's a bunch of videos online where people want to be guided through it.
I can relate with that because when I got past that moment of I'm going to go and post on Facebook about people not doing what they say they're going to do and blah, 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 I actually fell into a more positive energy. And I went to a closed Facebook group and posted in there a positive, this is my situation, I'm trying to get to this outcome, who can help me? And within an hour, I'd had everything fixed.
Yeah, amazing.
So my energy tried to drag me that way initially. I pressed the pause button, reflected, sat in it, had a better conversation myself, asked myself some better quality questions, and then went in that direction. Yeah. To me, that's healing.
That's healing, doing that. And this is why this process is really great. Sitting with our feelings, you've got to feel it to heal it. Yeah.
Healing isn't like I automatically go to the right thing first away. We talked earlier about your first reaction is very rarely the right reaction.
Yeah.
And that, that's part of the healing process. I think, go on in.
No, I was going to ask about different signs so people, help people understand that they are healing. What different signs are there?
I think awareness. For me, it was recognising the patterns of behaviour that remain consistent in my life.
And patterns are one of the best things, because if you look at things that you say or individual actions, they tell you what you're doing in the moment, but if you actually look back at the patterns don't lie. So
Yeah.
that's
The patterns,
that's
look
one
at
of
the
the
patterns,
things.
recognise them, and then don't go to your phone, don't start doom scrolling, just sit with yourself and reflect and just notice what starts to come up for you, or, open up your book and journal about it. Write down, what have you been avoiding? What are you not accepting? What is this stuff trying to say to you?
Maybe what are you saying to yourself? What's the story in your head now? What's your inner narrative?
Here's the funny thing. We've talked about this a lot. Personal responsibility.
Yeah.
In that thing yesterday where the person, I'm not going to dress it up. The person did me wrong. They totally did me wrong. I didn't think they did me wrong. However, once I pulled myself back over here and asking myself better questions, I was actually able to go, this is my fault. I've allowed them to do that by me by not having robust procedures or values in place when it comes to this. If I had them in place, this would have never happened. So this is my fault.
Amazing. Self-advocacy, self-responsibility.
Take my power back.
Yeah.
For about an hour, they had all of my power. I was like not happy. And I'm glad I didn't speak to this person at that point,
Yeah.
because I probably would have said or done something I
Nice reflection then.
really regret. And actually, do you know what I've done? I've just done a slow fade, withdraw from the situation, walk away, head held high. I'll go,
Yeah.
you go do you.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Nice.
go do me.
And I'm sure there's a lot of our listeners that can recognise some of what we've each shared in this.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Wonderful.
So, healing is a bit of a car crash. But, it's an ongoing process. Yeah. Well, as always, thank you for watching us, and we look forward to catching up with you in the next episode of Tickety Boo.
If you or someone close to you needs to access mental health support, please contact your GP, or if it's out with normal office hours, get in touch with NHS 24 on 111. Alternatively, contact the Samaritans on 116 123. All calls are free of charge from any phone. You can also find more support information on the Tickety Boo website, ticketyboopodcast.co.uk.